Hello again, everybody. I did say that I was making videos a little more frequently, and as you can see, I am back. What I want to talk about today is, like I said before, death in Dragon Ball. I've seen a lot of people try to maintain that death in Dragon Ball is something that just it does not have impact. It cannot have impact. And the reason is we already know that they're going to come back to life because they wouldn't kill off any of the characters, and so therefore it doesn't have impact. And while that's kind of true, it's also not. And what I mean by that is that while I can understand the idea that um, emotional reaction and reception to these character deaths, might not necessarily be extremely visceral, at least at this point. I think a lot of that also comes down to the fact that it's one of those things where it's like desensitized over time. If you went into this series though and you had absolutely no idea what was coming, I think it would still hit you really hard. But let's just set that aside for a minute. Um, and let's look at this a little objectively here. I mean, can death in Dragon Ball still be impactful? The answer is, quite frankly, yes. It can, and it often is. I know a lot of people have said that the presence of the Dragon Balls being able to wish people back, and then the Namekian Dragon Balls not even having a limit on how many times someone can be wished back. That really dulls the sense of oh no, they died, and people laugh at character deaths now and everything. But I think it's kind of important to remember a few things. First and foremost, how these deaths how these deaths impact people in series. All right. Now there's this weird idea that none of the characters in the series are even really phased by it anymore because oh well we could just wish them back with the Dragon Balls, and it's like no, that's not a thing. It is to a degree, but yet not. When it appears in the series itself, it's rather amusingly um, actually used for dramatic effect, believe it or not. About the only time that I've actually seen "We'll Just Wish Him Back" syndrome, as I like to call it, it was one time from Bulma. And that was when she learned that Yamcha was dead and Tien was dead, and she's like, "Oh, that's okay. I'm not too upset. We'll just wish him back with the Dragon Balls." And then Krillin's got to tell her that first of all, Chaozu, can't be wished back, and second of all, the Dragon Balls were destroyed when Piccolo died. And when that hits her, that they don't have a way to do that anymore, the way the toll that takes on her emotionally is like very visceral and very deep seated. So much so that it bothers Krillin to the point that he actually volunteers information that he heard secondhand that he's not even 100% sure is viable just on the off chance that he might give her some hope because she was like genuinely hurting there. And it's not just her either. I mean, when you take a look at how these characters have handled people dying, when Goku died versus Cell and he wasn't coming back and Chi Chi found out, she was on her hands and knees bawling that she wasn't going to see her husband anymore. When 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 God, when Goku saw Krillin die, I mean, at that point too, you got to keep in mind the Dragon Balls on Earth might have been restored, but he can't be wished back on those. Okay, and the ones on Namek were already stone, so Krillin wasn't coming back at that point, at least to Goku's knowledge. There was no way that was happening, and the way that affected him so deeply that it's what finally triggered this transformation. It's what finally got him angry and just, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not forgiving you for this one. You crossed the line. Boom. That is an impactful thing. But I think that it's honestly, but I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, you're going back to old Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. But when you look at like stuff in Super, they even joke about it and everything. And no, they really don't. Piccolo, when he took that shot for Gohan in the Resurrection F arc, that was not really played as no big deal. It really affected Gohan. It really hurt him to see that. And it's where he got the thing that he needed to draw enough power to basically, you know, put out enough of a signal for Goku to follow home. And Goku, when he got back and saw, his son like that, and Piccolo dead, he was furious again. When he learned that Black had killed his wife and his other son in his own body, you know, that enraged him so much that he didn't give a crap even if they were immortal, if he was taking both of them on at once. Just no, that was it. He unleashed all kinds of pent up hell right there. Even they were scared and shocked by it. It was something that they were able to overcome, but they were still scared and shocked by that. Which, I mean, I love that for multiple reasons, not the least of which is that it destroys the myth that Goku doesn't really care about his family. I mean, the last time I saw him get that angry was when Krillin died. But the point is, you could see it be impactful for characters. But I see a lot of people, then later on say, oh, but, that's the characters. It can't be impactful on people who are watching or reading at this point. And I don't think that's true. Simply because, like, back in the original Dragon Ball stuff, again, people, when Krillin died, like, the first time and even the second time, over in Japan, there was, like, such a stir, and there was, like, all kinds of controversy, and people were freaking out and upset. And that was, knowing the first time even that there were Dragon Balls around that he could be wished back on. When Master Roshi died, same thing. When and even now, like people got genuinely upset seeing Piccolo die. Um, People were genuinely kind of wigging out a little bit when I mean not severely, but they were kind of like where the hell is this going when Goku died fighting Hit. Um, when you think about it, all the people who die in Trunks' timeline, they're not coming back. They couldn't have come back, and the only way they sort of get them back is Whis has to essentially recreate that universe set before, back before Zamasu and Black show up, and Trunks and Mai are going to have to live out the rest of their lives under completely different identities. They can't be them anymore, and even though they're going to have their loved ones back, their friends back, and everything, they probably can't interact with them anymore because they can't let other people know that they're them. That that's not something that they're going to be allowed to do. So, I mean, it's not like there's not consequences and impact for death anymore. You know what I mean? And honestly, you also do have to keep in mind there are certain characters right now who really can't be wished back outside of the Namekian Dragon Balls. And what are you going to do when, those aren't accessible to you? And the Namekians are going to get kind of tired of shelling those out to literally everybody. So, to me, I think, honestly, death can have an impact. The problem is, I just don't think that death is a necessary story tool in this particular case. And what I mean by that is, I just don't think that we really need a whole lot of death to keep something like Dragon Ball going. At least not permadeath or death at all, really. As demonstrated with the last few arcs, there have been a lot of cases where characters did not die, but you were genuinely invested in what was going to happen. And the thing is, I mean, this is not an unusual thing to hear complain about in the fandom, though. There's always the complaint, oh, no matter what happens, Vegeta's never going to beat the main bad guy. Oh, no matter what happens, Vegeta's never gonna get this. Oh, no matter what happens, Goku's gonna win. You know, etc., etc. And a lot of times these are just outright proven balls, but you know they stick. And this is something that I don't think is gonna go away in the fandom too often. And the other thing is that impact is a really subjective thing. Okay, what people say mean when they say that death doesn't have impact in Dragon Ball, honestly, is that it does not have impact on them. And if it does not have impact on them, if they don't feel a deep visceral reaction or more than an awe or an oh no, then that means that first and foremost everyone else has to feel the same way. And second of all, everyone else has to be dissatisfied with that. And I don't think that's the case here. I mean, I see way too many people in this fandom definitely taking like a personal stance and trying to apply it as like some sort of objective truth. And this is a very subjective topic. All right. I will argue that I think death is still impactful, especially when you don't see it coming. Piccolo actually dying in this arc, the arc version of Resurrection F. I did not see that coming. That actually shocked me, and I felt kind of sad and upset. I really did. But, you know, it's whatever. Well, it's not whatever. You know what I mean. It's just sad. If you don't feel that, then that's whatever. Okay? If you don't feel that same impact anymore, then you know I don't know what to tell you. I understand that why you might think that, but this idea that the series itself is inherently at fault for it, I don't concur with that. I can't agree with that. You know, because I mean, even now I still feel like those little pangs of I, I don't want to say grief per se, but sadness when I see a character die. When I saw 17 appear to die too, that was something that I actually did not see coming in the anime. So you know, and the manga just had to crap on that, but that's beside the point. I actually did not see that. I thought 17 might have actually been gone. And I know that people are like, "Oh, he came back, so that means that his death was completely unimpactful." No, no, it doesn't, because you still felt that emotional impact. Just because later on it turns out he wasn't dead, just because it turned out to be a fake out, or that he just kind of blasted himself unconscious there, that doesn't lessen the impact that you felt when you thought he was dead, because that was a very real emotion. And I, and a lot of people were like vocally upset about that, even though they knew he'd probably get wished back somehow. But they were just people got really upset, you know, and that's what I mean. Death in Dragon Ball is still impactful for a lot of people. And I think that to sit there and say that it's been completely undermined and holds absolutely no narrative weight anymore is really just a you problem. All right, that'll do it for this one. A little bit shorter than what I do sometimes, but it's hard to address the kind of subjective stuff. But I just wanted to point out a few examples of even recently where death in Dragon Ball in a series where people can be resurrected, you know, um, can still impact people, and it does to this day. The next video I think I'm gonna work on. I am open to some requests. Just keep in mind I'm not gonna, you know, do everything. I really don't want to do any kind of power level stuff, so please don't push that. But the next topic that I'm gonna address is Vegeta not being able to really work as a main character in Dragon Ball, and why Goku is effective where Vegeta would not be. Alright, that's it for tonight. I will catch you guys later. Peace.